Last episode we began the installation of our new Yanmar engine. We had to get some brackets fabricated, but luckily they fit, and this episode we continue with the installation and get her into the water.
Gather round all you floaters, I got a story to tell.
Alright, so it's late afternoon, day 2 of engine installation. Yesterday we mostly did, well, Raphael mostly did kind of getting the engine and the mounts all sorted, since that took a bit of extra time having to get that special bit machined and then getting everything aligned. And then we also had to go on a bit of a mission to find the right oil, because it's not very easy to find where we live. In Mexico in general, actually, it's not very easy to find, and we got very lucky. There was 1 gallon bottle left, but we had to drive from one store, find out, drive to another store. Anyway, we found it. So we finished up around 7:30 last night. And then we've been out here since early this morning. Today's been very productive. Raphael's currently running the raw water hoses and the fixing the anti-siphon vent in place. This morning was mostly aligning the shaft, putting the shaft seal on, the coupling, the dampening unit. Move. Make sure the boat doesn't fall on you. Slides in much easier. Would you look at that? It kind of turns out that, as always, things didn't quite fit the way we thought they would fit with new products, and so there's a lot of adjusting and things like that. So as you can see, we only have a tiny bit of room for our dampener to go in, and this is what makes changing the shaft seal on this boat so hard and doing work back here, because it's really hard to move anything back far enough to access this area, because we only end up with like this much room, this much shaft showing. So yeah, that's Rafa pushing it in now. Looks pretty well aligned already. Basically the things that we're left to do is connecting the new throttle and running the exhaust hose. And then we just need to fill the engine with fluids because it got shipped empty, and we will be ready to start it and then ready to go in the water. So not too much more. Yeah, it's all going really quickly, and there's been hiccups, but Raphael's really good at he's used to this kind of thing. He's used to working in Mexico where parts aren't always just, available around the corner, and he's very good at troubleshooting and getting everything done. So it's been really, really awesome having a professional doing this with us. We've already learnt a lot about the engine and tips and tricks, including, I think I've been overfilling the batteries, so that's good to know. Yeah, so it's been really, really good having a professional who really knows what's up here. He's even talked to us a bit about the electricity and the aluminium boats and stuff, and yeah, been really, really good. We're excited. Day 3. We've been putting in like a good 10-11 hours a day out here, so, and although Jim and I aren't having to do that much, we're still pretty tired from it. Sitting around in the hot doing little things adds up, but everything is going very, very well. Rafa is currently just connecting the last few hoses. We've just got to put the batteries back in and connect them all up. This morning he did new cables for the batteries. He put the throttle in because that ended up turning into a bit of a big job, because we had to actually cut a bigger hole in the aluminum, and that took a bit of time because we also only have a pretty small multi-tool, so it's not just like it takes a little bit of time to make the cuts. And yeah, with any luck, we'll be starting the engine this afternoon, provided we don't get any other hidden surprises, but I think we're pretty good now. Everything's more or less connected. And then we're planning, hopefully, to go in the water tomorrow morning. It looks like maybe around 10 a.m. And so we'll have Rafa in the water with us tomorrow, and then we will say goodbye to Rafa probably the next morning. And we'll hopefully have a working boat that we can start setting up. So that's really exciting. It's happened very quickly. Yeah, but like I said, there's been a few little delays with things like just, like I said, first we had that shaft seal and all that delay, but then, you know, little things like cutting that extra hole, and then even sometimes just finding things like we bought all the stuff for the engine like, 5 months ago now, and so then you have it all arranged, and then 5 months later you've got to remember where you arranged it all, and that can be a bit of trouble. And then of course there were a few, nothing major was forgotten, but little things like I bought like every sized hose clamp you can imagine, except the hose clamp size that we wanted for the fuel hose, and so we had to borrow some smaller ones. Steve, our friend on one of the boats in the yard here, has been very, very gracious and kind, and we were missing some washers. He's like supplied us with all these little things we've been missing, so it's really good, but nothing too major. All the major parts we've got, and they're all fitting and they're all going together. So yeah, and in good news, the throttle, our old throttle, when you pushed it forwards, you went into reverse, and when you pulled it back, you went into forward. And now the new one, forward is forward and reverse is reverse. So that'll be nice. We'll just have to try and remember, since we've got used to doing it the other way. But it feels so much smoother, so it'll be really nice to have that set up properly too. So all systems go. We were getting close now, so began filling all of the engine fluids. Rafa and I also worked out a plan for attaching all the cables to the batteries and how to run the hoses to the new engine. I wonder if it was zip tied. Do you see how there's that piece of wood up the top that has a nail missing?
Yeah.
It might have been zip tied up there, I think, at one point, or maybe. Yeah, like I think the only other option would be to go below this. And then I think there might be a hole, like you were saying, like way under here.
Mm-hmm.
We bought one of these little bad boys.
A lot easier.
Mm-hmm. Rafa was saying, you know how we were always trying to test them by like pushing it down?
Yeah.
Rafa was saying to actually do like a bend, and it should kind of bend to the side relatively easily.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's really tight, then it's too tight, and if it just like wiggles, then that one's like that, okay. Yeah.
Okay. On this one, when you want to tie the alternator, it's only one person.
Yep.
So I don't tie the knot on the back, but it's this knot right here. It's loose, right?
Okay.
But with this screw.
Yep. Yeah, so then you get a bit of an idea.
You can see the mark, because if you take it out, you don't want to see it.
Yeah, it's really hard to tell, isn't it? Okay, cool. That's much more obvious. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, give it a try.
Got hoses on, Rafa. They seem to be flowing okay, or is it a bit weak?
Yeah, water's coming out of there.
Give the lever this way. Okay. Release the red button. Giving RPMs. More.
see if it works.
Okay. I'm ready. No leaks back here, which is good. Oh. Getting used to being in the small spaces again. Alright. The hard part was over. Now to splash and clean up a little.
Go back there.
This is a squat.
Yeah.
It's probably good for me too, but it's hard work. Stretch out. After 3 years in Puerto Madero, we were splashing for the second and hopefully the last time. So, it is the morning of day 4 and we are ready to go in the water. Engine started nicely yesterday, everything seems to be running smoothly. Plan is we're basically waiting, there's a boat in the slings right now, so once that boat goes in, we should be able to go in. And we'll need like 5 to 10 minutes in the slips, in the slings, just checking, you know, just checking everything's not leaking, making sure everything's turning normally, check our through hulls. Speaking of, I need to remember to close those so we can check them all. And then we'll go for a motor and basically take the boat just out into the little channel a bit, turn around, bring it back. So Rafa can just check things like prop pitch and make sure the engine's working under load. And then we'll be going into the dock, and then he just has a few other little tests he said we just can do tied up in terms of, like, you know, checking RPMs and things like that as well. And we're done. We'll have a new engine. After this, the only other thing we need to do is Rafa said that once the boat sits in the water for kind of 3 to 5 days, things will shift a little bit. And so he's going to teach me how to, or teach both of us how to check the alignment, just so that we can, you know, periodically check that stays the same once we've been in the water, just since we've been out for so long. Even aluminium boats do compress a little bit, you know, once they've been out of the water for a while. So yeah, we're excited. I'm a teeny tiny bit nervous, but mostly excited.
Gather round all you floaters, I got a story to tell. How 30 days in a boatyard turned into 13 months of hell. You know I got them low down boatyard blues. Dust up all around me, get you fiberglass.
Yeah.
0.2 hours already. More water coming. Oh yeah. Cool. Okay. Maybe come more. There you go.
We're in neutral.
Okay. Fuerte. Con fuerza. Finally, we are back in the water and it feels good.
But there's still a bit to do before we can sail on out of here. Join us next episode for our first motor through the bay. Thank you to everyone who donated to Repowered Chuffed. We couldn't have done this without you all, and are so excited to continue our journey sailing and offering veterinary care to animals in need. Until next time, stay chuffed, everybody.